CBS Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
It's a 59-degree day here in the Pacific Northwest. Beautiful day, as you can see right now, with the winds under 10 miles an hour. Today's game against the Chargers marks the first Seahawk home game since the passing of Paul Allen last month. Allen, a Seattle native, purchased the team back in '97, was instrumental in the construction of this field, which opened back the stadium in 2002. And today, raising the 12th man flag in his honor. Usually they have a dignitary or some former player that may come and raise it. Today, the heavens raise it for Paul Allen. No one was more eloquent than Pete Carroll, the coach. There is his sister, Jody Allen, and you can almost feel the emotion from the crowd and certainly his sister watching that number 12 flag hoisted high. They have 12-man flags all over the city. In fact, every building in downtown Seattle yesterday and around the Pacific Northwest bathed in blue, his favorite color. And that's why the Seahawks have these blue uniforms. We've had the flip of the coin. The Chargers won. They have deferred, and the Seahawks will receive.
You know, Kevin, he purchased the Seahawks back in '97. He quickly helped turn them back into a winner. They won 9 division titles, had 8 seasons with 10 or more wins, and they played in 3 Super Bowls under Paul Allen's leadership. Incredible run.
The rookie Rashad Penny will retrieve the ball about 4 yards deep in the end zone to a knee. Touchback to the 25 with the 1st and 10. And it's a chance to bring in the third member of our crew and say good afternoon to Steve Tasker.
Kevin, the Seahawks are going to take the field today with Russell Wilson, the quarterback. They're going to play hardball. They run the ball 31.7 times a game. That tops the National Football League. They throw it less than anybody as well, only 26 times a game. That's their recipe. Phillip Rivers and the Charger offense, they bring the long ball. Phillip Rivers with 5 40-yard-plus touchdown passes on the season. That's tops in the NFL. That's going to be their recipe. Get the Seahawks out of their recipe and walk out here as the first AFC team in 12 tries. Win.
All right, Steve, thank you. Here comes Carson on 1st and 10 and bursting to the side. Run out of bounds on the play by the cornerback, Casey Hayward. It's a run of 15 on the play for Chris Carson with the look right there at quarterback Russell Wilson, who had a perfect QBR last week. With a look at the line right here, Brown, Sweezy, and Fluker have been huge in unleashing this offensive rushing attack. And in the backfield, Chris Carson, who just carried there for 15, has had 3 100-yard games in the last 4 he has started. With a gain of 15 right there. And a 1st and 10. Carson again. And brought down by the top tackler, Denzel Perryman. With a gain of 5 out to the 45-yard line. The Charger defense, Joey Bosa is still injured. Damian Square will take his place. Leads it today, starting for Phylon. Linebackers, Denzel Perryman being healthy has really helped the tackling. Jatavis Brown will start for White, who's on IR. Michael Davis today starts for Trevor Williams in the secondary. 2nd down and 5. Here's a nice run right here by the other running back, Mike Davis. And he had a 100-yard rushing game earlier in the season against Arizona in his start. That's a game of 6, and that's a 1st down, Rich, to the 49 of Los Angeles.
Well, I like the fact that they'll bring in an extra tackle at times. You see George Fant, number 74. He'll come in and play the tight end position. So they actually have 6 offensive linemen in there. And Kevin, it's really no secret, as Steve Tasker pointed out earlier, this is a team that wants to run the football. The Chargers are going to have to stop the runner. It could be a long day for this defense.
And it's in again. Vanette looks like he jumped off the tight end. At the bottom of your screen, it will be a false start.
Before the snap, false start. Offense, number 81. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
First-year referee Sean Hockley, who is the son of the legendary Ed Hockley. So they march him back to the 46, Rich.
Well, you look at play selection, it really kind of tells the story, right, in terms of who they are and what they want to do. And look, if you're the Chargers, this game is going to be like an inside run period in practice. You know, you got to tackle well and limit the yards after contact with both of these backs.
There goes another guy jumping off sides in this one. And although they say that Mebane, a former Seahawk, may have been induced. As we discuss things right here. Quiet certainly when the offense has it. I don't see anybody move. Did you, Rich?
Encroachment.
I think it's on
Defense
Mebane.
number 92.
It is.
5-yard penalty. First down.
He became a Charger back in 16, leaving Seattle after he was so terrific. With a look at head coach Anthony Lynn, who's in his second season with the Los Angeles Chargers as head coach.
You think about Anthony Lynn, Kevin, a former fullback and special teams standout. He's a guy that believes in running the football. And I think when you study this team in terms of how they've transitioned under his leadership, I think certainly the running game has been much more of a focal point through the first 8 games of the season.
Fant is out. 5 in the secondary for the Chargers. It is a 1st and 10. With a handoff here to Davis. Looked like he got kind of caught up in his own run and thrown back for a loss with Ingram jumping on him. A loss of 2, Rich, back to the 49 of L.A.
I think the turf monster got him. You know, he just actually maybe he steps. Actually, he just Russell Wilson. We talk about the importance of the quarterback center exchange. We also talk about the ball placement in the running game. Russell Wilson actually trips up the back there. I think he catches part of Mike Davis's left foot.
Chris Carson, by the way, battling a groin injury and a hip injury. So Davis getting the look right here. 2nd down and 12. Wide open, that's the tight end. Bennett makes the grab. Gain of 11 on the play. Brought down by Perriman. 11-yard gain puts him at the 40-yard line of the Chargers.
And this is a weakness right now when you look at this team. I mean, the middle of the field, there's going to be so many big plays. This is where they struggle defending the passing game. I think the linebackers at times, Kevin, in my film study, they are a liability in pass coverage. Very good run support players, but they struggle a little bit defending the pass.
Brian Schottenheimer is the offensive coordinator of Seattle. 3rd down and 1. Carson is in, gets the call. Has the 1st down. Initially jumping on his back is Derwin James, the rookie out of Florida State. It is a gain of 2 inside the 38, and Rich another 1st down.
Well, short yardage situations have been a problem for Gus Bradley and his defense. They're the only team to allow 1st downs on every 3rd or 4th and 1 situation this season. That's now 14 straight. Just not very big up in front. They're smaller at the linebacker position. They struggle a little bit stopping the run.
Gus Bradley was up here for a while in Seattle. Rashad Penny is the running back. He's taken no offensive snaps in 2 of the last 3 games. With a 1st and 10. They're coming at him with Phylon. And downfield with an incompletion to Bennett, with the coverage on the play by Desmond King. He's elusive, Rich. Tough to gab. The quarterback, Russell Wilson, is for the Seahawks.
Well, they have to be able to keep him in the pocket, and that's one of the things that Gus Bradley talked about last night when we sat down and visited with him. This is where Russell Wilson can really hurt you when he gets outside the pocket. His ability to extend plays, not only running with the football, but he's very accurate throwing the football to his right and even to his left, which is obviously a more difficult throw for a right-handed passer.
3 defensive backs. Penny remains. The pitch on 2nd down and 10. Into the secondary and brought down by Justin Jones. Jones, a rookie out of North Carolina State, but he wheels on the play for 9. He takes it to the 29-yard line of the Chargers.
Well, they don't do a good enough job containing. When you look at the end man on the line of scrimmage, Nwosu, he's got to be able to get upfield and force the back up inside where he has help in the run game.
You don't see that often, do you? 4 linemen and 4 linebackers and 3 in the secondary.
I think they're trying to get a little bit more speed on the field, Kevin, to defend against this Seattle offense.
Carson in, 3rd and 1, 9th play of the drive. Slicing for the 1st down to the 21. And then jumping on him a couple, including Isaac Rochelle. Gain of 8. Mark the change now to the 21-yard line. The drive continues.
You know, the biggest concern in the offseason was addressing this Seattle offensive line and really protecting the quarterback. And I just tell you, this offensive line, you look at Brown and Sweezy, Britt, Fluker. They went out and got Dwayne Brown last year after the Houston game. They signed Fluker and Sweezy in the offseason. And I think maybe the biggest addition was going out and getting Mike Solari, who I think is one of the best offensive line coaches in football. I had the good fortune of spending time with him when I was with the Chiefs.
Fant is in, 1st and 10, off to Davis, looking for a block. He got one from Brown. He gets one downfield, also from Fluker. as he dances his way and works his way to the 11-yard line with a winding run after the catch of 9 and close to the first down.
Well, this is going to be important. Just watch the linebacker as he recognizes what he thinks is pass. Now he's going to turn and run. And what happens is they're throwing the screen out the back door. He's got his back turned to the line of scrimmage. And you have to be able to see these backs. They're very good. They have a very good screen game with both backs. You look at Mike Davis as well as Chris Carson.
Davis remains second down and 1 on the 6.5-minute drive, and shooting through at the stop right there. The former Packer, Casey Hayward, throwing them for a loss of 1 back to about the 13.
Well, good look at Mike Solari talking to Pete Carroll. This was kind of a package deal. They went out and they hired a new offensive coordinator in Brian Schottenheimer. Brian insisted that they bring in offensive line coach Mike Solari, who had been here prior to Pete Carroll's arrival as the head coach of the Seahawks. So Brian and Mike Solari worked very closely together with the game plan, with the protections, and most importantly, the running game. And I think that's where you've seen the most improvement with this Seattle offense for the first 7 games.
Carson in, nickel secondary, third down and 1. And Carson tries to burrow his way inside the 10. Looks like he did. Give him a gain of 2. Bunch of guys on his back and riding him down Mebane and put him inside the 10. It's first and goal.
Well, you look at the play selection, 9 runs so far and just 3 passes. And like anything else in football, if you don't stop it, you can count on seeing it the rest of the day. And this Charger defense, they're going to have to find a way to swell up a little bit and stop the run game on first and second down.
Carson in. Fake to Carson. Blocked by Brown. Russell Wilson to the end zone and caught! Touchdown! What a grab by Jerome Brown in the back of the end zone. Brown with his 3rd touchdown reception of the year with a 10-yard laser thrown by Wilson. What a drive!
Well, this all starts with pass protection. And Russell Wilson had all day back in the pocket, took 3 or 4 hitches. He throws this one up in the back corner of the end zone to Brown, who's 6'3". He goes up and gets it. Look at him high point that.
Anderson, unrestricted free agent from Arizona this year. He's in his 6th season out of Clemson. Reaching high, snaring it. And a good-looking, scripted opening drive to the game. Janikowski, 7-zip Seattle. All kinds of big plays, big conversions on 3rd down. But right at the very tip of the success, Russell Wilson and a terrific band of weapons. Beautiful drive by Seattle to open the game, Rich, with 9 running plays and 4 passing plays.
One of the things that Pete Carroll told us about why he hired Brian Schottenheimer was the fact he was attracted to his diversity with regards to his background and philosophy. He had been exposed to a number of different systems, and of course his commitment to running the football.
Desmond King is going to lose the ball and pick it back up after the Janikowski kickoff, and then down he goes. Barkevious Mingo, one of the first to meet him. They'll put him at the 6. Wow.
Special teams have been a problem for the Chargers.
Here's a look at Phillip Rivers. He comes in today, starting his 200th consecutive game, 36 years of age. He took over for Drew Brees in 2006, Rich.
What an incredible accomplishment. You look at just Brett Favre and the 2 Manning brothers, guys that have made it over that 200 start threshold. And now that's one that I think Phillip Rivers is really proud of. And it's amazing to think, Kevin, you go back to his days at NC State, he never missed a start in college. He had 51 consecutive starts as a member of the Wolfpack.
His dad was his coach in high school growing up in Alabama, the running back Melvin Gordon. And this is Keenan Allen running, and he is as fast as they come at that wideout position. Knocked out of bounds by Tedrick Thompson, flying up the far sideline, takes it to the 34 on a run at 28.
Well, this jet sweep, both teams run it, but it hits so fast. You look, they turned the end man. Look, Clark, he turned him loose. I mean, again, he can't get his eyes up quick enough. And then, of course, you see the straight line speed of Keenan Allen.
Sean Calkin, the tight end, with a nice block. That's a way to wake him up. Rivers.
You're seeing more and more of that in the NFL.
1st and 10, Rivers. With time, Gordon out of the backfield and chased out of bounds, close to a first down. KJ Wright ran him out of bounds near the 44. Will give him a first down, a catch and run, a 10 right there for Melvin Gordon. So the offensive line for the Chargers includes Mike Pouncey, who has added so much to that line, a free agent from Miami. Melvin Gordon is back. Very deep receiving core. One of the deepest, in fact, in all of pro football. It is a 1st and 10. Gordon again with a block inside by Dan Feeney. It's a gain of 4 as he works his way to the 48-yard line. That defense now on the line. Frank Clark has been playing well. Top 12 sacker on that line. So has Stephen. He's played well. We just saw KJ Wright moments ago. Played last week for the first time. Had knee surgery in preseason. Just coming back last week. And Bradley McDougall is replacing the injured Earl Thomas in the secondary. And done a good job. 2nd down and 6. Calkin in motion. With 3 tight ends, 2nd down for Rivers, and great time underneath. And he's got Tyrell Williams with a gain of 11. Makes the strike at the 41 of Seattle. That is a first down.
You have to be able to defend a lot of the crossing routes. The Chargers love running the crossing routes. Phillip Rivers obviously very good at throwing them, but they have so many of them under Ken Whisenhunt. They have answers for man and zone coverage, of course, designed to beat man-to-man coverage, but boy, they run a ton of them.
Seahawks have 4 in the secondary, 1st and 10. Allen a block. Gordon gets the handoff. Wrapped up almost once he got the ball by KJ Wright and thrown for a loss of a yard back to the 42.
When you look at this Seattle defense, I think this is an underrated group right now when you look at the numbers and how well they've played over the last month. They're top 5 in total defense. They're 4th in passing defense, 4th in scoring defense. The thing that they've always done is you look at Kenny Norton Jr., who's back as a coordinator here in Seattle after a little hiatus with the Raiders, but they've always been a very good tackling defense.
Nickel secondary. Tevy with the block. Rivers on 2nd down and about 11 to go. That is caught by Virgil Green, the tight end, who picks up 6 on the play, put him at the 36.
It's been a bit of a changing of the guard. There's no Sherman, Thomas, Chancellor, Bennett, Averill, yet no problem. They've got 8 new starters. You look at the ranks. I mean, they're ranked 5th in total defense, 4th in pass, 4th in points allowed. I think they're statistically better in most major defensive categories. That's a real tribute to this young group of players that they have on the defensive side of the ball.
Running back is Eckler in motion right there. 3rd down and 5, and a flag as you see thrown. Sean Hockey.
Illegal substitution. 12 men on the defense. That 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Well, they love the number 12 here, but not when it signifies that, and so it's a first down for L.A.
Good look at Ken Norton Jr.
Ooh, got some pushing after the play with a scrum. Unfamiliar foes going at it today. But both playing well, both rising teams, as we said, as the officials quickly separate them.
And Ken, as we talked in the open, 2 teams really that are playing some of their best football right now.
Yes.
You look at the Chargers, they've won 4 straight.
5 of 6.
Yep, and you look at the Seahawks, they've won 4 or 5 after starting 0-2. And both teams playing with a lot of confidence right now.
Only loss when they won 4 or 5, Rich. The only loss was to the Rams. It was here by only 2 points. The undefeated Rams. So a long drive by Seattle to open the game. A long drive here by the Chargers to counter. 7th play of the drive. It goes to Eckler on the jet sweep. And he gets a block from Tyrell Williams and then careens his way down the sideline. deep in Seahawk territory to the 15. Jet sweep run of 11, first down.
Well, a really nice block, Kevin, as you mentioned, by Tyrell Williams. And these jet sweeps, we're seeing more and more of them in the NFL. This is a kind of a concept that was borrowed from college football in the spread game, but more and more teams are doing this. Is another way of getting the ball on the perimeter quickly.
Did you run a lot of that, Rich, when you played?
No, we did. You know, we ran some reverses and sweeps. This is a jet sweep, but what happens is it really makes you defend the field, not only horizontally, but vertically as well.
Watt, the fullback, Gordon on 1st and 10. Kind of corkscrewing his way in there, and not a whole lot of room at the bottom of the pile. A couple, including Trey Flowers, the rookie. It is a gain of 2, and he's down to the 13.
Well, when you see Phillip Rivers under center and you see the fullback in the game, it's a very high percentage of run.
Like almost 100%.
Almost 100%. I don't want to say that, but
no,
that's what they do.
Ken Wisenhunt is the offensive coordinator. And Rich, this is number 6 rated offense in the league.
Yeah, they're really, I tell you what, they've done a much better job. They're a much more balanced offense. Kevin, you mentioned the offensive line. This group has played well together. They've allowed the second fewest sacks so far this season.
Eckler in, 5 in the secondary. Rivers second down and 8. And across the middle, he had a wide open and creamy. You just talked about this, Rich, as it was brought in by Allen. Hits the deck at the 7. Gets 6 on the play.
Well, I love Keenan Allen, Kevin. They've done a better job of moving him around in the offense. He's not always lined up outside the numbers. He's in the slot a little bit more. He's willing to go in there and work with the big boys. He's got sudden quickness off the line of scrimmage. He is Phillip Rivers' go-to guy. He leads the team in targets, receptions, and receiving yards.
Antonio Gates is in 3rd and 2. Oh. Somebody jumped. Clark came on one side. The center ducked his head, Pouncey, and that's kind of when those guys jumped off that line.
I think what happens is Pouncey not only moves his head up, but he moves his head from right to left.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really initiated the movement.
False start by the center. It's a 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Let's watch it again, Reggie.
Well, just in the middle of your screen, and he's okay moving his head up and down, but now he turns it right to left.
Right,
Little trick by the veteran center, Mike Pouncey. And I'll tell you, he's made such a difference, Kevin, in that huddle. He brings leadership, he brings toughness, experience. He's a great communicator, very athletic. He'll pull on sweeps and runs. Took control of that group from the moment he arrived.
5 in the secondary. Gates remains. Gordon in the backfield. 3rd and 7. Rivers and caught. Williams, touchdown! What a grab! 12-yard throw. They'll go back and look. Flowers was covering. Thompson was there. What a throw by Rivers.
Well, you have to be able to defend these back shoulder throws. I think it's the toughest route to defend as a corner. And what a great throw by Rivers, and great concentration on the boundary by Tyrell Williams. Flowers actually in pretty good position. He's just not able to get around and locate the football.
Williams has had 2 straight 118-yard receiving days, and what a terrific throw by Phillip Rivers. Touchdown pass number 360, 6th all time. They have secured the view. It is good. Williams will catch it, and here is Sturgis to try to tie the game at the end of the first quarter with 0s on the clock. He does not. A missed field extra point by Caleb Sturgis. At the end of one, Hawks by 1 on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Kay Jewelers. For all the moments, for love, forever. Sonic. This is how you Sonic. And by the Honda family of SUVs.
Museum of Flight here on the home of Boeing in the Pacific Northwest. A missed extra point by Sturgis. He's missed some time. They've had a lot of kickers over the years. That's the 5th missed extra point. Rivers was ticked off, and you know what, Rich? I don't blame him.
The special teams, they've been a problem, Kevin. Their coverage units and kicking game has been an issue, and it's cost them a couple games, even going back to the start of last season.
It's Penny who brings it upfield and brought down on the play by Jeremy Davis, return to 19.
When you look at Seattle, they've only scored 5 times in their first opening drive going back to a season ago, and yet this was a great looking drive. 13 plays, 75 yards. Carson, Penny, of course, they finish it all. Look at the protection. Look at the time that Russell Wilson had him back there in the pocket before he finds Brown in the back of the end zone to put the Seahawks up by a touchdown early.
Davis is in. Seahawks only their second opening drive touchdown the last 37 games. Here comes Davis, massive hole into the secondary. Brought down by a couple, including Adrian Phillips, who actually plays kind of a linebacker, drops down, kind of a hybrid position. It is a gain of 5, Rich, to the 27.
Well, they're going to have to be able to stop the run, and they're going to just continue to see more and more of it as you look at the Seahawks bring another offensive tackle on the field, George Fant, number 74. So they got a lot of big bodies up there.
They do indeed. Top 10 rushing team, as Rich has talked about over the last 4 weeks. Second down and 5.
As you see the safety starting to come down, extra defender down around the line of scrimmage.
Adai is chasing him and brings him down. Adai with square. Jaleel Adai, his first sack this season, loss of 13, back to the 14.
Back's got to do a better job. There's really no secret. He's the end man on the line of scrimmage, and Mike Davis has to be able to block him, and he swings and misses, and that makes it difficult on Russell Wilson. The one thing about Russell Wilson, this was a kind of a constructive criticism from offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer. He's got to do a better job of knowing when to throw it away and move on to the next play, and that's tough on a quarterback like Russell Wilson because he makes so many plays when things break down around him, but he just got to know when to say when.
It's Davis. He breaks one tackle into the secondary, and then brought down by Derwin James on that 3rd and 18. Works his way up to the 24. And they're still about 6 to 7 yards shy of a first. So here comes the punting unit for Seattle. James, the talented rookie out of Florida State.
I've really been impressed with him. Second on the team with 44 stops. He's tied for the team lead in sacks. He's got great range. He's also very good down around the line of scrimmage, and that's really where the Chargers have used him a lot lately.
Michael Dixon is a rookie from Texas and the reigning NFC Special Teams Player of the Week. He'll get the first punt away. Desmond King is back to the 20, hang of 4.25 as he cannot get away. Nice play, loss of 2, 57-yard punt. Justin Coleman was down there with the coverage. 12:40 in the first half on CBS. Look at Philip Rivers, Rich, who has tied the best start to his career now with 18 touchdown passes.
It's amazing. He's currently on pace for 38 touchdowns and just 7 interceptions. Both would be career best. And Kevin, he's so smart. It's like having another offensive coordinator in the huddle. He's seen it all. Hard to fool Philip Rivers.
With 2 tight ends, 1st and 10 after the punt by Seattle. Fake to Gordon. Look at the time. Now it disintegrates, and he throws underneath, and it was dropped with great coverage by Wright, going for the running back, Gordon. 2nd down and 10.
Well, they took a shot on 1st and 10. It's a 2-man route. Wasn't there. Rivers is looking for his back. Doesn't have great mobility, but he always seems to know where his quick hands to throw is, and that's really good coverage from KJ Wright.
Rivers comes into today with a quarterback rating that is 3rd in the NFL, 118. He's only thrown 3 picks and 18 touchdowns. 2nd down and 5. Make it 2nd down and 10. Blocked by Schofield, almost grabbed right there by Shaquille Griffin. Jumped right in front of the wide receiver, Allen. 3rd and 10.
That's really good cover by Shaquille Griffin. I don't know how you do any better than this. He's right on his shirt tail. He grabs the arm a little bit, doesn't get, they don't see it. Of course, Phillip Rivers sees it. I love Phillip Rivers. He's such an emotional player. I mean, if it's not the way he wants it, he's going to tell you about it. He's not going to wait for the position coach or the Monday film session to make the correction. He holds everyone accountable, players and coaches alike.
Nichols secondary, 3rd and 10.
Play a game.
Yep. And then Rivers, when he got that late snap from Pouncey, just kind of volleyballed it in back of him.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Which, how much can a penalty of 5 yards on a crucial 3rd down like that change now the next play that's coming up?
Well, it doesn't help, Kevin. And I think the challenge that they're going to have is the communication. The crowd noise is a factor here. There's no question about that. It's a tough place to get a win. Seattle has sold out 133 consecutive home games, and they proudly out-advertised their NFL best 168 opponent false start penalties since 2005.
Second pre-snap penalty right there. 3rd and 15. They need the 27. Again, good time. Going deep. He's got Allen. Wide open. Cuts and breaks a tackle on the play of Thompson. Allen down inside the 35. Spectacular throw. Great time awarded. 54-yard strike and a 1st down for the Chargers.
Well, take a shot. You look right. Keenan Allen's right here. They're going to run a little bit of a double move, and he's able to go right by the corner. The safety's got his eyes in the backfield. Great route, great patience by Keenan Allen working on the safety.
And Thompson had him and couldn't bring him down. But he knocked him off his horse just enough. Watt is the fullback in the pitch on 1st and 10. Here comes Gordon. There goes a flag. Breaks the tackle of Thompson again to the pylon. Looking, touchdown. Let's see what that flag is all about. It could wipe away a 34-yard touchdown gallop. What a run. Thompson has missed 2 tackles in 2 straight plays in the secondary for the Hawks. Touchdown.
Ruling on the field is a touchdown. Holding. Defense. That penalty's declined. The score counts.
Melvin Gordon with his 7th rushing touchdown this season, and that was a beauty.
Well, look at, you're going to see the pull of the tackle, and then you get the kick out block from the fullback, and then he's off to the races. It's a great looking sweep play. Look at the fullback. He gets Watt gets a great block, and you're not going to catch Melvin Gordon in the open field. He's got great straight line speed.
What a run. They're going for 2 because the first extra point was missed by Caleb Sturgis. So they got their offense back out there. 34-yard touchdown run by Gordon. Drives of 83 and 94 yards against the Pete Carroll defense. Now they try for 2. And incomplete. A lot of traffic in there going for Gates. So it stays 12-7. Melvin Gordon raced for over 1,000 yards a season ago. Limited in practice this week with a hamstring, but galloping for 6 for the LA Chargers there to take a lead.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Verizon. The best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network.
How beautiful is downtown Seattle. Various buildings in Seattle throughout Washington State really were lit in blue all weekend long in honor of the late, great Paul Allen. Color blue was chosen to represent the Seahawks, also Allen's favorite color. They've got some blue in that LA Charger uniform. But right now, not a favorite of the Seahawk fans. A little bit shocked. The Chargers come in 5-2, road record of 2-1. Seahawks at 4-3, home record of 1-1. Kansas City was playing in Cleveland today, and right in back of them, the second-place Chargers. They were the preseason pick to win the AFC West. Here's Penny from the goal line. And then drilled on the play by Watt. And his other brother is J.J. Watt. That's Derek Watt. 16-yard return. Super Bowl 48, MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey. Seattle dominates Denver from start to finish, winning 43-8, giving Paul Allen and the Seahawks only their first Super Bowl title. And this season, CBS is the home of Super Bowl 53. It wouldn't surprise me, Rich, to see either of these teams at the beginning of the season say, well, I don't know. Right now, they are really surging.
Well, you look at Seattle, Kevin. It's a great story.
And a 1st and 10 handoff to Chris Carson. He works his way out to the 17-yard line with a gain of 1.
A lot of people were saying that the Seahawks championship window appeared to be closing. There was even talk of a rebuild, and yet you know Pete Carroll and all, and their general manager John Schneider. That's not their MO. They've never once talked to these players about a rebuild, and yet here we are at the halfway point, and Pete Carroll finds himself coaching a playoff contender.
Rashad Penny is the back. Wilson with a 2nd down and 9. Ingram got a hand on him, and then bringing him down was Corey Legion on that line. Gain of a yard out to the Seahawk 18.
Just continuing what we were just talking about a moment ago, Kev. I just think the Seahawks have never been afraid to play with young players. You get a good look at John Schneider, their general manager. He's done a terrific job of evaluating and drafting players. And I look at his second day. You look at the second day of the draft, the players that he's been able to find over the years, even free agents that have come in here, not only have been contributors, but have been starters on championship caliber teams.
Davis back there, 3rd down and 8. Wilson outside. That looked like it flew off his fingertips. It's incomplete. Hayward was out there watching David Moore. It is 3 and out. Here comes a punting situation for a 2nd consecutive Seattle possession.
Well, Hayward's their best cover corner, and he's really in pretty good position here. You see the throw from Russell Wilson, not able to really lower his weight and drive this ball, but you look at the coverage right there, you could say maybe Hayward grabbed at the top of the route. He's trying to defend.
Australian Michael Dixon will be out there punting. He's trying to defend David Moore. And some good hang time right here, not looking into the sun. It's King sidestepping and then brought down on the play with a punt of 50 yards. A tackle made by Luani, Shalom Luani, with Sean Hockley and his crew. Here, Chargers are coming off a bye. They beat Tennessee in London 2 weeks ago by 1.
So they're well rested.
Illegal block in the back. Return team number 31. 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
That's
Los
Adrian
Angeles.
Simmons.
Timeout.
Who's guilty right there. We step aside with 5 minutes gone in the 2nd quarter on CBS. What a day in Seattle. Tonight on CBS, some friends come into our life the exact moment we need them most. Watch an all-new God Friended Me. Tonight after 60 minutes, only CBS. With NFL MVP Rich Gannon, 7-time Pro Bowler on the sidelines, Steve Tasker. Kevin Harlan with Russell Wilson having 2 straight 3-and-outs for his offense. Rivers takes over. 1st down and 10 from his 24. Melvin Gordon, Watt with the block, and plugged up on the play by Barkevious Mingo. Among a couple in there, and a gain of a yard near the 24.5, 25. Deion Jordan also getting a hand. He's been playing well lately too, Deion Jordan.
We talked earlier about this Seattle defense, an excellent tackling team. They don't miss very many. And I think they use their hands so well. They take good angles. They know where their help's coming from. The other thing I like is you see a lot of different types of tackles depending on the ball carrier.
After getting no gain on that 1st down, 2nd down, 10, dumping it off into the hands of Gordon, incomplete. Right there they had Frank Clark, who was defending off that line. Frank Clark may have thought about, I'm going to grab that ball. He used to play some high school tight end.
He can run. He's got a great first step off the line of scrimmage. He's their best pass rusher right now, without question. He's got an explosive first step, leads the team with 6.5 sacks. playing a lot more snaps now than he has in the past.
In fact, over the last 13 games, has 11 sacks. Even something else, you're right. 3rd down and 10. Eckler on the backfield. Good block. And through the hands, ricocheted, incomplete. Oh, it was so close. Bobby Wagner just about had it. The 4-time All-Pro linebacker had it go right through his hands. Nonetheless, 3 and out. The Chargers have got a punt.
I think Rivers was in between what to do. I think at the last moment he was trying to throw it to Antonio Gates, but he never really had his feet squarely set. And that ball just sailed on Rivers.
The dangerous Tyler Lockett is back to retrieve this punt. It's booted away by Donnie Jones. And takes a favorable bounce and a roll. Look at inside the 25 to the 23-yard line. A 53-yard punt. Russell Wilson and the offense of Seattle will get back out there. 29-year-old quarterback with the 1st and 10 when we come back.
We look at play selection at 13 runs and just 6 passes so far for the Seahawks.
After the Charger punt, 1st and 10. Carson in the backfield, going deep, and he's got Baldwin. Nice catch and down the sideline. Works on Michael Davis, making a start today for Williams. 42-yard reception to the 35 of the Chargers.
Kevin, you talked about the change at the cornerback position. Trevor Williams not starting today. Michael Davis getting the start. They went right after him with the go route. You have to defend the go route against the Seahawks. They throw a ton of them. It's a route that Russell Wilson really throws well.
Baldwin only caught a couple last week against Detroit. Carson is in there. 1st and 10. Chris Carson, he hits that hole hard, doesn't he? Then he was tripped up by Casey Hayward and works his way down to about the 28. Gain of 7 on the play to Steve on the sideline.
After that last Seahawks offensive drive, Jermaine Ifedi, the right tackle, the Seahawks came off. He was visibly upset, had to be calmed down. The center, Justin Britt, and J.R. Sweezy, the guard, tried to calm him down. He took a couple of deep breaths, was all right. He was not upset with his teammates. It's something that the Chargers did. This game, the Chargers did. This game a little chippy even in the early going.
2nd down and 3. Here comes Carson with the stiff arm and slowed down initially by Adrian Phillips, and then you see the avalanche of defenders. There wasn't much gain on the play. In fact, none at all. It'll be 3rd down. We've got a touchdown pass to Tyrell Williams by the quarterback Rivers, and a 34-yard touchdown run by Gordon. A 10-yard touchdown pass got things started for Seattle to Brown from the quarterback Russell Wilson.
Well, the running game's been impressive. Top 5 in rushing average. Averaging over 135 yards a game on the ground. Ran all over the lines last week for 106 yards and had 42 rush attempts.
Davis in the backfield, 3rd down and 3. Outside, Baldwin again. Dancing with Kings. 2 flags thrown over there at about the 23-yard line. Gain of 11 as it stands now at the 17-yard line. They came out quick, and they came out at the same time, those flags.
Pass interference. Offense number 83.
Well, that's why it was so.
10-yard penalty. Replay.
Although that was
down.
David Moore. The reception was made by Baldwin. Moore was the one shoving.
Yeah, they're going to get more. You just little watch. He's going to come inside, and they go outside, and
they'll pick.
Well, I don't see it. I mean, he has the ability and the right to be able to go in there and post up. He didn't extend his arm. He didn't try and hip check him. Not so sure that was the right call by the officials.
3rd and 13 now. They need the 25 of LA. Into the nickel. Wilson deftly moves up. Hits it off to Davis. One-on-one. He is brought down. Nice open field tackle there by Michael Davis. It is a gain of 5. They're shy of the 1st down by 8. They get into field goal range, and they bring out a guy who's kicked more 50-yard field goals than anybody, Sebastian Janikowski.
An old teammate of mine, Kevin, from 2000 with the Oakland Raiders.
Is the operative word there.
19 years in the league. Seabass. I'm proud to say that His first preseason game, I was his holder. And
Were you really?
I was so bad that was the end of it. They made Shane Lechler hold. They had a good run together.
51-yarder. Oh, he does. Oh, hits the upright and ricochets. No good. The defense hold, and Seabass will miss. Janikowski with his 4th miss this season. And the Chargers on top midway through the second in Seattle on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm. Here to help life go right. Wendy's new Sawsome Bacon Classic Cheeseburger. And by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
Let's take you to New York, and Gene Steratore, NFL rules analyst, is joining us. Gene, what'd you see on that kind of very important penalty on the offense of the Hawks?
You know, I think the intent of the receiver is to get in the path of the defensive back, which is legal. And when he turns and establishes his position looking back at the quarterback, he hasn't made contact with the defender yet. Now, the defender then makes contact by his pursuit. So I don't think that's a foul for the initiating of contact by an offensive player, which would be offensive pass interference. It looks like a good play, even though the intent was to get in that defender's path.
Eckler just picked up 2 on 1st and 10. Jefferson made the stop. And Rich, you think that was a play that was not called the right way?
Right. I mean, I understand the intent and design of it. It's clearly he's going in there to pick him, but you know, the officials allow you to go in there and run the route. You usually get the flag because you extend your arms, you put a shoulder out there to screen the defender, but in that situation, you know, David Moore didn't do any of those things.
Gene, thank you. 2nd down and 8. They dump it off, screen pass, another one foiled. Eckler was the guy. Looked like he may have bumped into his right guard, Michael Schofield. Incomplete on the play, 3rd down and 8. Right now, the Chargers 2 and back at Kansas City, who won today in Cleveland in the AFC West. The Rams playing right now. They trailed the Saints. Seattle in 2nd place in the West and back of the Rams.
Well, this was a point of emphasis during their bye week. The 2 areas that they had to get cleaned up offensively, according to offensive coordinator Ken Wisenhunt. 3rd down offense and their ability to finish drives down in the red zone.
Into the nickel, 3rd and 8 for Phillip Rivers. Okung with the block, floating one up, looking for Williams. Cannot hold on. Hit the deck. Thompson was there. Incomplete pass. Here comes the punting unit.
This is an offense that is generating a lot of big plays. They're number 1 in the league in yards per play and 3rd in yards per pass attempt. This is one that, well, you think for a second there that Mike Williams can make that grab. He just is unable to squeeze it and hold on at the end.
2nd consecutive 3 and out. Here comes Donnie Jones to punt. He back is Tyler Lockett. 3-time Pro Bowler as a kick returner. Waving it off. And good placement. And a little bit of a bounce right there, too. And a roll for the Chargers. Timeout. 43-yard punt. 4:47 in the 2nd quarter. Rich, each team has had 2 consecutive 3 and outs. And, of course, we had the missed field goal last time for Seattle.
When you look at those 3 and outs, Kevin, they're demoralizing to an offense.
John Penny is in there on 1st and 10. There's a couple to bring him down. On that line, Perriman got him around the ankles with the gain of 4 and up to the 17.
Good look at Perriman, who's really played well for them, Kevin. We had a great visit with him last night. He's a confident player. He's terrific in run support. He's a great communicator, and he runs sideline to sideline. He has fun playing the game.
Told us a lot last night. 2nd down and 6. Fake to Penny. Out of the backfield. Rashad Penny. Nice open field tackle right there by Jatavis Brown. Linebacker out there playing today to the 23-yard line. Gain of 6 and very close to a first. They give it to him.
Well, both of these quarterbacks, Russell Wilson and Phillip Rivers, they do a nice job getting the football to the backs in the passing game. They'll look downfield. They'll go through the reads and the progressions, and they're willing to check the ball down to the backs.
Rich, how many games did you watch of each of these teams getting ready for today?
I watched the last 4 games of each team, and you seem to get a feel for who they are. But Seahawks are a lot different, Kevin, than they were the first 2 weeks of the season when you look at the emphasis on the running game.
1st and 10, outside to Penny. Kyle Emanuel holding on for dear life, and he can only squirm. Penny out to the 27-yard line with a gain of 3. A flag has been thrown. Remember, Penny had no offensive snaps 2 of the last 3 games for the Hawks. The rookie out of San Diego State, number 1 pick. Carson has been carrying more, doing more. But today, Carson is not 100%. Hip injury and a groin, they told us on Friday.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Offense number 78. After the play was over.
That's
Half the
Fluker.
distance to the goal. The down counts. 2nd down.
That's the guy Steve was just talking about moments ago.
He's a big man.
Yeah.
Almost knocked our director, Chris Svensson, over on the practice on Friday coming out of the locker room. Sven was too close to the door. Just watch on the right side. He gets a little extracurricular shove there. DJ Fluker, originally a tackle coming out of college, playing the guard position. He is a big man inside. He's really helped us solidify the inside of that protection on the offensive line for the Seahawks.
Davis is in. 2nd down and 20. More outside. King shoves him out of bounds near the 20-yard line with a gain of 7 right there.
You look at the Seahawks. We talked about the slow start, Kevin. They were 0-2. They had 5 turnovers in their first 2 games. Since then, they've had just 1. And I think that's the biggest reason they've won 4 of the last 5 games. You look at them, they're taking better care of the football. They're running the football better. They're playing better defense. All what Pete Carroll was hoping for the start of the season.
They need the 33. There goes a flag. 3rd down and 13. 3 down. Russell going deep. It's going to be picked off with, oh my gosh, it was
It was going to be.
I know it was. James was going to get it, and then Phillips tipped it, but it's a flag.
Derwin James had an easy one, and Adrian Phillips put his left arm up.
It's not going to matter,
Offside.
though.
Defense number 54. 5-yard penalty. Replay. 3rd down.
Melvin Ingram.
Well, you talk about communication, right? You're supposed to say, I got it, I got it.
It's like baseball.
And maybe Derwin James, the rookie, didn't say, I got it, I got it. Adrian Phillips thought he had it. Nonetheless, they're having fun with it, but they had a false start penalty, as you mentioned, so.
Wouldn't have mattered anyway. Phillips, like we talked about before, kind of drops down into the box. Plays that hybrid safety linebacker. 3rd down and 8.
The blitz.
Davis was back there, wide throw, incomplete. Lockett was in the sights. King was defending. It's another 3 and out for Seattle.
It's a bit surprising. The protection's pretty good. Russell Wilson just misses this throw. I mean, that's one of the things he does as well as any quarterback in the league. Very accurate thrower, trying to throw the slant route to Tyler Lockett.
The Australian, Michael Dixon, who beat out John Ryan, the longtime punter for the Hawks. Drafted he and Green Bay drafted somebody to punt right after that. J.K. Scott out of Alabama. This kid is out of Texas and sends up a rocket.
A great hang time.
King, hang time of 4-5. Here comes King, sifting through traffic and finally brought down on the play. Hit by Jacob Martin. And it's a 57-yard punt with a 16-yard return. Like we said, 4-5 on the hang. Saturday, SEC on CBS featuring a doubleheader. First Ole Miss and Texas A&M. Then one of the SEC's top defenses. Mississippi State looks to slow down the nation's top offense in Alabama. Alabama's win over LSU clinches them a spot in the SEC championship against Georgia. A game you can watch right here on CBS December 1st. What a great day of college football yesterday. So here comes Phillip Rivers. They've had 2 consecutive punts. They begin here with decent beginning field position at the 35 of the 1st and 10. Close to the 2-minute warning. Rivers across the middle. That is caught by Allen. He then is brought down by Tedrick Thompson in the backfield on the gain of 12 and a 1st down. Nice scoring for the Chargers today. A touchdown pass, a long touchdown run over the Hawks on CBS.
The The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Applebee's new neighborhood pastas. Eatin' good in the neighborhood. And by Progressive Insurance, handing off big savings to you.
Back in Seattle, coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, JB and Company scores, highlights, and news from our CBS studios in New York. 3 timeouts remaining for each team. After the punt, first down and 10. Rivers, a congested, chaotic pocket, incomplete. Looking for Gordon. Coverage outside by Wright. Second down and 10.
Kev, you talk about a congested pocket. I refer to it as a muddy pocket. I think Phillip Rivers is the best quarterback in football when it comes to throwing from a muddy pocket. Push up in his face. He doesn't flinch. He sits in there with a tough jaw, and he makes great, accurate throws down the field. You know, he doesn't have great mobility, but he's so efficient and effective operating from the pocket.
6 in the secondary for the Hawks. Second down and 10. An avalanche of noise. A block by Gordon, and there goes Rivers, and he's got a crossing pattern to Keenan Allen, who's brought down on the play by Coleman. 23-yard catch and run to the 30 of the Seahawks. Again, 3 timeouts apiece.
Boy, Keenan Allen is killing this Seattle defense with these crossing routes, and he's running them from the slot formation inside the numbers.
First and 10. Rivers has thrown a touchdown pass. Okung the block at the left tackle. He's got Allen again on a cross. The ball hits the deck. It's coughed up on the play. Coleman was covering. It is incomplete.
But they came right back to it,
sure
Kevin.
did.
They want to run those crossing routes with him in the slot. You see the little bit of a high-low stretch there. You've got Travis Benjamin over the top and Keenan Allen coming underneath from the opposite direction.
NFL comeback player of the year a season ago, Keenan Allen out of Cal. The Chargers over the last 4 games have only trailed twice. Once to Tennessee, once today. They trailed early 7-0, then followed a touchdown by Seattle with a touchdown of their own. Second down and 10. And to the sideline, he's got the wide receiver Mike Williams breaking the tackle and takes it in. And that is a no signal given. It's a touchdown. And he broke a tackle on the sideline of Trey Flowers. 30-yard touchdown.
Again, another back shoulder throw. You see up top, Williams working on Flowers. And look, he has to stop for this ball. And when he does, Flowers never sees it and isn't able to make that transition. But a great throw by Rivers. And Kev, we talk about these 2-minute situations. Rivers may be the best in football. They've scored 5 times in the final 2 minutes of the first half. That was 6. Question is whether his foot was in or out. Very close on that left boundary. Just watch his right foot.
Boy, what a great job to do a pirouette, and Flowers had him dead to rights.
Yeah, good look right there. And
watch his heel. Watch his heel.
Yeah, the question is whether his heel comes down. I don't think it does.
I don't think it does. And our view.
Great
I don't
camera angle.
Oh, right there. Yes, sir.
All right, there you go.
Chris Svensson is in the truck with our producer Jonathan Siegel. Looks like they've got him. They caught him at about the 8-9 yard line, Rich. But what a masterful job to get free.
Boy, Rivers is really chucking it well, isn't he?
Boy, he is. Just off
the
to
ball
this
comes
terrific.
out so quick.
You
think about almost 75% of his throws, the ball's out in 2.5 seconds or less. He makes it virtually impossible to get a sack.
And Rich, he's turning it over at the lowest rate of his career, which is another big factor.
Well, you know, quarterback play can carry a team a long way. Mm-hmm. He still throws the deep ball as well as any quarterback in the league, and I just think it's the heel that comes down right here.
This one. Left foot, left heel. Great view by our cameras, which should put him, like we said, at about the 8.5-9 yard line.
Still got all 3 timeouts left.
Yes, they do. So The Chargers come in having won 5 of 6. Seahawks come in having won 4 of 5. And coming into today, the Hawks trailed first place Los Angeles, the Rams, by 3.5. With Kansas City's win, the Chargers, as we speak, are down by 2 in the West. Let's go to the call.
The ruling on the field stands as called. It is a touchdown.
Well, I'm going into the optometrist tomorrow morning because
I don't know. I thought we had a good look at it.
I thought we did too. But it's a 30-yard touchdown pass with a missed tackle by Flowers and one at the very end on the pylon by Bradley McDougald. So the lead of the Chargers expands. Mike Williams, his first catch today, a 30-yard touchdown reception. To tack on one more, Sturgis, and this has been an adventure. 19-7, the Chargers. Gene Steratore is our NFL rules analyst in New York. Gene, what did you see?
Well, I didn't go to the optometrist, but I did put my glasses on. And I'll say this about it. One thing we have to remember when we review these is we've got to remember what the ruling on the field is and have really clear and indisputable visual evidence. Although right before that pirouette at the 9-yard line, it appears that the heel hits the ground. But you have to stay with the rules of replay, and is it clear and indisputable? Even with my bifocals on, I can't say clear and indisputable. We'll have to stay with Stans on this one, guys.
Mike Williams gets the 30-yard touchdown reception. Remember, in London a couple of weeks ago, he had a touchdown reception, a long one against the Titans.
You know, you talk about the importance of, that bye week and chance to go back and reevaluate and self-scout. You've got extra time to heal up and recover and get treatment, but also, Kevin, extra time to game plan and prepare for the Seattle Seahawks.
Makes a difference, doesn't it?
It really does. I think the Seahawks are a little bit shocked right now at the fact they're down 19-7 here at home for the Chargers.
Lockett is going to leave it in the end zone. He was back to get that Sturgis kickoff. And out to the 25-yard line in New York, and our CBS studios are putting together for you right now the Verizon Halftime Report. JB Phil, Nate Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher with scores and news and highlights from an important Week 9 in the NFL, all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. Rich, let's widen our lens. And what are your feelings with almost a half in the books here in Seattle?
Well, the one thing I know about Russell Wilson, Kevin, he'll never panic. This is a team that has the ability to come from behind. We've seen it time and time again. In fact, you and I did a game here last year against the Houston Texans.
We did.
That was a shootout. I thought 3 or 4 times during that game that the Seahawks had no chance. And yet Russell Wilson somehow found a way to bring them behind late in that one.
Davis out of the backfield, first down and 10. Lockett is drilled. And a flag. The hit by the rookie, Derwin James. Gain of 4 up to the 29.
I think you're going to get a helmet-to-helmet hit on the rookie, James.
He sunk his helmet, looked like.
You can't take aim to initiate contact. You have to kind of see what you hit.
Hawks have all 3 of their timeouts. Let's watch it again.
Ruling on the field was a completed pass. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 33. 15 yards will be added to the end of the play. First down.
Well, that changes now, this final 104.
Your head should be up, and that initial contact must occur with your hands, your shoulders, or your forearms. The helmet should be used for protective purposes only.
Wilson so far through the air, 9 of 12. First down and 10. Davis in the backfield. Vanette with the stationary catch at about midfield with a tackle on the play that brings him down. Jatavis Brown got him. Gain of 6.
You see there the Seahawks have been good late the first half as well.
Second down and 4. Davis Brown again around his waist at the 43.
Plenty of
Gain
time.
of 7. Yeah, and a first down again. So we've got 43 seconds to go. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this from Lowe's. Seahawks just took their first timeout. Russell Wilson moving him downfield. A career-high quarterback rating for him so far this season at 113. First and 10. 2 timeouts. Six defensive backs. Davis in the backfield. 1st and 10 from behind. Isaac Rochelle out of Notre Dame. And it's a gain of 4 down to the 37. Timeout.
Russell Wilson must have saw something, Kevin. Clearly, he went up to the line of scrimmage to change the play. He saw an opportunity to sneak one up in there.
So we have 2 teams on the rise. Neither team has beaten a team, Rich, during this winning streak with currently a winning record, which was kind of the asterisk coming into this one. As we say, 2 teams on the rise.
And that's why Gus Bradley, the defensive coordinator for the Chargers, said this was going to be a really good test to see where they were at. Their last 4 games came against the 49ers. They had a backup quarterback, the Raiders, who were struggling with just 1 win. You got Cleveland, the rookie quarterback in Mayfield, and the Tennessee Titans with really one of the worst offenses in football. So this was a good test for the Chargers coming in against a better Seattle offense.
1 timeout, 2nd down, 6. And Jatavis Brown with the tackle at the 32-yard line. Doug Baldwin makes the grab. Gain of 7 on 2nd down and 6. They'll put him at the Charger 31. So Rich and I got 33 seconds remaining. Here is another timeout taken as they talk on the sidelines. Back in 30 seconds after this from Pizza Hut. Rich, no timeouts, 31-yard line for Russell Wilson.
But remember, there's other ways to stop the clock. I think completion, he can throw the football away, clock it, get out of bounds.
Davis, the running back, he gets the call in the middle. They've been attacking there. You saw it on tape. You talked about it earlier. Yep, a dive, the stop at the 21. Gain of 10. Give him the 1st down. He'll spike it right here, we think. And back he goes with a flag and a false start on Seattle. Clock is at 16 seconds.
That'll be a runoff. I don't think they were set.
Yep.
And that's the problem.
Runoff coming up, 10 seconds. Down to 6 seconds. Now it changes.
False start. Offense number 83. It's a 5-yard penalty and still 1st down. By rule, this foul requires a 10-second runoff. Please reset the game clock to 6 seconds, and the game clock will start on my signal.
Well, what he's got to do, he's got a chance. Look how deep this I don't like this. This is bad. What they do, they just throw the ball right here and stop the clock and bring on Sebastian Janikowski and kick a field goal. I don't like this. Is something Gus Bradley does in these situations. Kind of a picket fence back here, but you just give him an opportunity just to run a little.
Reset the game clock to 9 seconds.
Well, now you'll definitely just throw a quick out.
Well, sure. Get a little bit closer. Janikowski's only missed 1 today from 51 as he prepares on the sideline.
So now they'll bring a defender. But this is where you got to throw the ball right here.
Yep, just spiked it.
All right, they're not going to take a chance.
Nope, they're not going to. So it's 2nd down and 15. And they'll bring out Janikowski, try to put 3 on the board, heading to the locker room at halftime.
Sure, Sebastian Janikowski, Kevin, would have appreciated another 5 or 6 yard cushion.
Yes.
I don't know why they just didn't simply take the ball and throw that quick out on the right sideline there. Had plenty of room and plenty of space between the receiver and the defender.
So here, and let's see now, that the Chargers have 3 timeouts, and I'm sure they'll probably take 1.
Janikowski hit the upright on his previous field goal attempt
from 51. This is a 45-yarder. It is a bit of a breeze in the back, and here comes Hawkeye again.
I asked Sebastian Janikowski at practice on Friday about kicking in this stadium. You know, he spent all his time in Oakland. He said it can be, especially going this direction, Kevin, towards that end zone.
The 26-yard line. It's 2nd down.
As you look at the flags, he says it swirls in this part of the field. So this one should start towards the left upright, and he'll bring it back in.
44-yard field goal try by Janikowski. Away it goes and through it goes. 19-10. 4th time this season, Janikowski kicks a field goal on the final play of the 1st half. But the Chargers, playing on the road against a winning team, where they have not won on the road against a winning team since mid-2016, have had drives of 65, 83, and 94 yards to lead by 9 at halftime. After these first half highlights from Verizon and a word from your local station, we take you to New York. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Rivers with a couple touchdown passes. It's a halftime lead. The Chargers over the Seattle Seahawks. And time now for the Downey unstoppable moment. Rivers going to Mike Williams for 6.
It should really come as no surprise that both of these quarterbacks have really played well in the first half. They're both smart players, Kevin. They know how to take care of the football. Very accurate. And you'd expect a lot more of the same in the second half. You see both quarterbacks, their ability to be able to bring their team from behind, but certainly the Chargers have gotten off to a great start here early.
And does that surprise you?
No, we mentioned the fact that they were coming off the bye. They had extra time to prepare, certainly to heal up after the trip over to Europe. But you look at both of these quarterbacks and what they've done in the first half. Putting up some good numbers. Third down numbers have been good so far for both teams. And, of course, the 2 touchdowns from Rivers. And 1 touchdown from Russell Wilson. Don't make mistakes. You see 0 interceptions. Rivers just 3 interceptions on the season. Russell Wilson and the Seahawks just 1 turnover in their last 5 games.
We're talking about Rivers and how he is starting his 200th consecutive game today. Nice milestone in his career. Russell Wilson is starting his 104th consecutive game today. That is 4th active current streak in back of Rivers and Matt Ryan and Matthew Stafford, some of the guys ahead of him.
That's hard to do when you think about those numbers. It's
incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, these are tough guys. They take great care of themselves. They rarely get surprised by blitzes or overloads. They know where their quick answer throws are. And both extremely tough and durable players at their positions.
Janikowski knocked in that 44-yard field goal as the kickoff to begin the second half. And the weaving Desmond King is out to about the 19-yard line with a return of 14 on the play. Let's send it down to the sideline and Steve Tasker.
Well, Kevin, at halftime, Anthony Lynn told me he's very happy with the way his offense is moving the football. No question that Phillip Rivers is up. They wanted to get up by more than 1 score and then see if the Seahawks can play from behind. They're right where they want to be. Pete Carroll said he gave him a little credit to the Chargers, said they made some adjustments up front, but we're still going to run the ball to set up the throw. We are not out of this far enough to abandon the run. We are going to do what we do.
Rivers began the game 5 of 5, finished the first half 4 of 12. On the 16, 1st and 10. Fake to Melvin Gordon, blocked by Feeney, outside low, and maybe scooped in by the receiver Keenan Allen. Jumps back up, moves another couple yards, gets 16, put him at the 32 and a first down.
Boy, they're having a difficult time handling Keenan Allen. When you look at the corner, he's in his back pedal, he's stumbling, he's fumbling. It's Justin Coleman. And I think the thing that I really like about Keenan Allen, Kevin, his ability to get off the line of scrimmage and to get off press coverage. He's got those long arms. He's physical with defensive backs at the line of scrimmage.
And look at right there. He's got 111 receiving yards already. It's 1st and 10. Little run right there by Melvin Gordon. Not a whole lot there. Reed at the bottom of the pile. Gain of 2 to the 34.
Well, it's been a good start for Keenan Allen. They get the party started with these crossing routes. He runs a ton of them. The double move early in the first quarter. And, of course, Rivers just throws this deep crosser really well to Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen does a great job at the top of the route, creating separation from those corners and safeties.
Chargers, no turnovers, no sacks allowed today. Drives of 65, 83, and 94 yards. Benjamin on the move, 2nd down and 8. Ooh, and a great stick right there by Wagner on Gordon. And no gain on that 2nd down handoff.
Boy, Bobby Wagner's a tackling machine. In fact, since entering the league in 2012, he's just one of 3 linebackers with 800 or more tackles. Luke Kuechly and Levante David, the other 2. We talked to Bobby Wagner about the types of tackles. He said, I don't know what you're talking about. I just go in there, I just find a way to get him on the ground. But he is the centerpiece of that defense and has been so for a long time here in Seattle.
5 in the secondary, 3rd down and 8. Rivers deep and through the hands of Mike Williams, incomplete. A lot of congestion in there, including Justin Coleman. And a couple guys in that vicinity. Also back there, Delano Hill. And here comes the punting unit for LA.
We get another crossing route. This time it's not Keenan Allen, but instead Mike Williams. You can see Philip Rivers. He wanted a penalty. Just love his energy.
Donnie Jones to punt. Lockett is back from the 28. All-pro kick returner is brought down on the play after a gain of 5 and hit by the Zubnar on a 5-yard return. Here comes Russell Wilson.
This broadcast is copyrighted by NFL Productions for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of NFL Productions is prohibited.
First half numbers there, Wilson, Carson, and Baldwin. Carson, they tell us, doubtful for the rest of the game, a hip injury and a groin. And that may impair them a little bit. So Mike Davis, Rich, will begin the second half.
That's not good. He's their best runner.
It's Davis into a thicket and not much there. He started the 34, he picks up 3, and he grinds his way out to the 37.
We talked to Pete Carroll at practice on Friday, and one of the things he said is we're back to playing hardball on offense with our offensive line and our running game. I mean, there's no fair dodging. It's just smash mouth, physical, downhill football with this run game. But as you mentioned, Kevin, not having Chris Carson the second half of this game is significant for the Seahawks because he's their thumper. He's a guy that can move piles. A great finisher in the running game.
You see the balance. Run and pass, 2nd down and 7. Davis tries to go in there. From the side, they have Damian Square with a gain of 2 to the 39.
And you're always curious if a team can shift gears. You know, they've run the ball so well, the last 5 weeks. At 805 rushing yards just in the last 5 games. And now all of a sudden, Kevin, you're not maybe able to run it as efficiently, and that may force the Seahawks to throw the ball a little bit more here in the second half on the early downs.
That's what Pete Carroll told Steve Tasker at halftime. 3rd down and 5. Blocked by Ifedi. Wilson and incomplete to the guy that hit for the touchdown back in the first half, Jaron Brown. It's incomplete. Here comes the punting unit for Seattle. The coverage back there by King and others.
Boy, he had him. He had good protection. He just misses the throw. Kind of unusual for Russell Wilson. Able to set his feet. He just misses a wide open receiver right down the middle of the field.
And the handoff, Rich, he was right, open because the handoff looked to be convoluted in the secondary for the Chargers. Nonetheless, here's Dixon's punt, which will take a terrific Seattle bounce inside the 15. Another possession for the Los Angeles Chargers. And 36-year-old Philip Rivers on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Dell and the XPS 13 with Dell Cinema. USAA, official NFL salute to service partner. And by Land Rover, above and beyond.
Fine Heritage and Combat Armor Museum. From the 15-yard line, 1st and 10 for Rivers. In the middle there, he's got his tight end. And from behind, Bobby Wagner brings down Virgil Green. It is a catch and run of 22 up to the 37 and a 1st down.
Well, this is a great graphic. You see Philip Rivers got his first start in 2006. He's never missed a start. Today, his 200th straight regular season start. And how about Russell Wilson? It's like the homecoming king back there in September. And, of course, both played at NC State. Russell Wilson eventually made his way to Wisconsin, but
1st down and 10. Here comes Gordon, and look at him gallop again into the secondary. And the tackle made there by Tedrick Thompson. Got him around the shoestrings. 20-yard run down to the 43-yard line of Seattle.
Boy, look at this run, and just watch this hole open up inside. You watch the movement up front. See the kick out block, and then a big crease.
Nice blocking. Feeney and others right there. Let's make a quick note here, some housekeeping. New strong safety, Delano Hill, is in for McDougal because he's got a knee issue. They don't know if he's going to return. First down and 10. Rivers, Eckler finds a seam, bang down the play, down about the 30-yard line. Hit hard down there by Stephen. 13-yard catch and run. A first down for L.A.
Well, this isn't something you see very often. The move in the pocket with Philip Rivers. We think of him as a stationary pocket passer. But he's going to get out on the edge. He just flips the ball underneath to his back Eckler. It's a big gain on first down. Like to see them change the launch point with Philip Rivers' son.
They've had some gains on this drive of 22, 20, and 13. With the first and 10.
Option.
It goes off to Allen. On the sweep, Stephen got him. No gain on the play. They stay at the Seattle 30.
Thought for a second there, Kevin, that Keenan Allen may have pitched that ball to the back. That was certainly a possibility. Saw that play last week from the Chiefs.
Rich, the Chargers, you've mentioned this earlier, they're number 1 in the NFL coming into today in yards per play.
A lot of big plays, and you know, you look at Philip Rivers, Ken, I think he's throwing the deep balls as well as any quarterback in football. I think a big reason why has been the protection. They're doing a much better job protecting their quarterbacks.
Second down and 10. There goes Gordon again. And he takes it into the grasp of K.J. Wright at about the 24-yard line with a gain of 6 right there for the Chargers.
Good look at Melvin Gordon. And you ask yourself, how good is Melvin Gordon? Well, since 2016, he's just one of 2 NFL players with 3,500 or more scrimmage yards and 30-plus touchdowns. The other being Rams running back Todd Gurley. That's pretty good company for Melvin Gordon.
He was inactive in their last game against Tennessee. They had the bye week. 3rd down and 4, battling a hamstring, limited in practice this week. Rivers looking long, and he's got Tyrell Williams. What a great defensive play by Trey Flowers. The rookie out of Oklahoma State got a fingertip on an incomplete pass.
Was a good adjustment by Flowers because he was beaten initially by Williams, but he's able to rally back and extend that right arm just at the last second and knock it away for the waiting Tyrell Williams.
Terrific defensive play. So they will limit the Chargers to a 42-yard field goal try by Caleb Sturgis. Minimal wind. And no. Sturgis has missed an extra point and a 42-yard field goal. That means he has left 4 points off. He's ticked off. And the Chargers come up empty.
Well, it's been a rough day for Caleb Sturgis so far. He missed the extra point, then he missed a 42-yard field goal. And Kevin, you and I were just talking during the break. They've been kicking so well.
Janikowski missed a 51-yarder too, so.
Sturgis had 35 straight kicks from inside the 40. That was just outside the 40.
Davis in the backfield, first down and 10. Davis gets the call. And he was hit initially over there by Ingram, and he's thrown for a loss of 2, and it's back to the 30-yard line. Again, we don't expect to see Carson, hip injury and groin, doubtful for the rest of the day. Thus, Davis and their first-round pick, Rashad Penny, will probably, we think, see most of the carries the rest of the way.
This Chargers defense, Kevin, has tightened up their run support since the first couple series of the game. In fact, they've played a lot better the last 2 months despite the absence of Joey Bosa. When they get Bosa back here in a week or so, that's really going to help Melvin Ingram in this pass rush.
Second down and 12. Outside it goes for Davis. Out by Emmanuel. And then met over there by Casey Hayward. Knocked out of bounds about the 36. Rich on a gain of 6. Steve, what do you have?
Yeah, when I'm standing down here on the sidelines, I'm watching these Charger defenders. They just do not believe that the Seahawks will throw it on first down. I mean, they are really jumping in on the running game on these early downs. They know the philosophy of the Seahawks, and they're using it to their advantage by going a little bit extra at the box, knowing they're not really giving up anything in the passing game. And I think that's it's an emotional advantage they have on the early downs.
Into the nickel, 3rd and 6. Wilson is 14 of 19. Slings one downfield, caught by Baldwin. Brown tried to take it away. Derwin James has him, finally brought down. With a flag, maybe a late hit. No, Wosu is the one to finally wrangle him down. But the gain looks to be 12. Flag is on the field and being discussed right now.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense number 68. The foul occurred at the end of the play. A first down was gained. It's 1st and 10.
That's the center, Justin Britt.
He's trying to come in and help out his buddy, Doug Ball, when he comes in late and gets a hit. Right there. I don't know, really not necessary. After they picked up the first down. Good adjustment there by Russell Wilson. They bring Ingram and Desmond King off the slot, and he's able to quickly find Baldwin hooking up over the numbers.
Okay. Davis in the eye, first down and 10. Madden with the block. Here comes Wilson on the move. He needs the 45 for a first. Falls right before he meets Philon. Gain of 5 on the play. Put him at the 40.
Well, Kevin, as I was watching this Seattle offense this week, you just keep looking at how well Russell Wilson is able to make up for missed assignments or missed blocks with his scrambling ability. And he's extremely smart when he runs the football. You rarely see him take a big hit. He knows how and when to slide and protect himself.
2nd down and 5. Davis, he's got the first down. Into the secondary and brought down by Jatavis Brown. With a burst of 12, he's down to the Charger 48. And a player down for the Chargers.
That's Philon. Can't afford to lose him. He and Mebane have been playing well inside along that defensive line for the Chargers.
Darius Philon is being looked at, and 4:41 to play in the 3rd as we step aside from Seattle.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by AARP. Take on today with AARP. Real possibilities. And by Verizon. The best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network.
They have just carted Philon off the field. Isaac Rochelle taking his place after the 12-yard run by Davis in the backfield for Seattle. 1st and 10. Wilson again. Designed run. And tripped up on the play by Michael Davis, who allows only a yard of one gain there right to the 47-yard line.
You don't see as much of this anymore from Russell Wilson. I think he's running less. And
he is.
You know, I think he's such a smart runner. We talked about it. You rarely see him get hit. He knows when to slide, get down to protect himself. I always say the best ability, the quarterback position, is availability. To line up and play under center each week, and Russell Wilson has done that for the Seahawks.
It's 2nd down and 9, 7th play of the drive. Wilson under traffic, down he goes! Rochelle brings him in, the guy that is replacing Philon. 2nd sack, pushing back to the 40-yard line. Losing 13 yards on the play.
Well, good pressure. They do a good job keeping him in the pocket, and at some point, you got to be able to throw the football away. Russell Wilson is so athletic at times, Kevin. I think he's got a difficult time giving up on a play. I always say sometimes the best play, the only play, is to throw it away and live for another down and not put yourself in these 3rd and forever situations against a defense like the Chargers.
They're
Not going to
running
convert
down.
a lot of third 22s in this league.
Third down and 22. Outside they go. Caught by David Moore. Pushed out of bounds by Brown, and a dive. Gain of 8. Here comes the punting unit. Let's take our first trip to New York. James Brown and my buddy Boomer Esiason.
Case Keenum.
That's right. Case Keenum, he's 18 of 28, 217 yards, and this touchdown pass to Jeff Hireman for 12 yards. They take the lead 17-16 over the Texans.
Hey, that was an appeal by Kevin for you to throw it back to him.
Back to you, my man, Kevin.
Boom, I miss you. Thank you, James. Here we have a punting situation right now for Seattle. They've got Desmond King back. Lets it bounce at the 5. Oh, what a well-placed punt by the rookie, Michael Dixon. He is a terrific. He won the Ray Guy Award for the best punter in college football a season ago at Texas. A 46-yard, well-placed punt. He'll maroon the Chargers and Rivers at their 5.
How about what he did last week, though? He ran the ball out of the end zone as they were icing the Lions and picked up a first down inside 2 minutes.
He was great. CBS Super Bowl season continues next Sunday with a doubleheader. Tom Brady drives New England into Tennessee. Late window, Seattle and the Rams. Miami and Green Bay. Rich, you and I will be at Lambeau Field next week with an important one. All beginning with the NFL Today at 12 Eastern right here on CBS. First and 10. Good time again, Rivers. Outside, dropped. It's the tight end, Virgil Green, who cannot hold on to the ball.
A really nice job there by Bobby Wagner running with the tight end. And I think for a second there that Virgil Green's going to make this play, but look at Wagner. Just keeps fighting, keeps clawing, and rips away the left arm of Virgil Green.
Bobby Wagner is one of the best linebackers in pro football.
He runs sideline to sideline. He makes so many stops at or around the line of scrimmage, and a big reason why he's one of the top tacklers every year in the National Football League.
Second down and 10. Here comes Gordon. Gigantic hole. Pouncey opened it. Looking at banging off bodies like a pinball. Takes it by the 25 to the 26. Brought down by a couple on the play, including Trey Flowers. Hard-earned 21 yards for Melvin Gordon. 88 yards on the afternoon.
Well, Kevin, what a great run. I mean, you just watch the violence. Just taking care of the football. Bouncing, turning, spinning, twisting.
What hamstring injury.
And finishing. And I just tell you, this guy has become a complete back. He's really, the area where he's really improved is in the passing game. He's been great with his routes. He catches the ball well. He's been solid in protection.
That run looked like a guy that used to run here in Seattle, and Marshawn Lynch. First down and 10. Gordon looked like some indecision in the backfield. Nice play coming in right there. Delano Hill, he's out of Michigan, a third-round pick last year. And they throw him for a loss of 2, and he is back to the 30, make it the 24.
Good look at Ken Wisenhunt, his play sheet.
Again, Hill is in for the injured Bradley McDougal. Got injured in this one, second down and 12. Rivers into the nickel, will hand off, and it goes to Gordon, who puts his head down. Not a whole lot there, working his way, grinding his way out to the 28-yard line, and brought down by Shamar Stephen. It is a gain of 4.
You watch Phillip Rivers. There's a lot of communication that takes place at or around the line of scrimmage.
It's amazing, isn't it, Rich?
Yeah, he calls the play in the huddle. He gets up there. He confirms with Pouncey, the center, the protection call. If it's a pass, you'll see him change. Go from run to pass. And it's hard in this crowd noise, Kevin. He'll be a sore throat after this game.
Gates is in, 3rd and 8. They got around Tevy, but the throw is underthrown, and it goes to Hill. And the coverage on the play by Shaquille Griffin.
Penalty.
There was a penalty flag, and it was late.
Holding. Offense number 69.
Yep.
That penalty's declined. 4th down.
You mentioned Tevy on that particular play. A guy who started at right tackle and left tackle this season. Nonetheless, the Chargers on the road in a hostile environment lead Seattle by 9. Here comes the fourth quarter on CBS. We're going to start the fourth quarter. There's a look at the current standings. Kansas City won in Cleveland today. Rams are losing in New Orleans. And the punt with great pressure applied by Madden. Jones gets it off. The bounce to Lockett at about the 30 and quickly brought down. Went, the long snapper was there. Flag has been thrown. Nwosu was there. 42-yard punt.
During the return, holding. Return team number 36. 10-yard penalty. First down, Seattle.
Well, we got some bad news over the last 24 hours. One of the real legendary players for Bud Grant's Minnesota Vikings, Bill Brown, Bill Boom Boom Brown, passed away, and our Rich Gannon lost a father-in-law. That was Bill Brown. Your wife was a gymnast at the University of Minnesota. They raised their family in the Twin Cities, and I know you cared about him a great deal.
Yeah, Kevin, I grew up as a young boy in Philadelphia watching Bill Brown, the Vikings, and never dreamed that one day he'd be my father-in-law. And he was, obviously we could talk about all his on-the-field accomplishments, but what I remember most was how kind he was to everyone he came in contact with. So certainly we love Bill Boom Boom Brown, and we're going to miss him dearly.
That's Doug Baldwin. Gain of 13, Rich, and he's, I'm sorry to bother you, he's out for 33. Go ahead.
Well, he was special, Kevin, and he was a great player, but he was so humble and just a gentle giant, and such a great father-in-law. So we're going to miss Bill Boom Boom Brown, and certainly my thoughts are with Shelley and my family back in Minnesota.
Davis with a run on that 1st and 10. With a gain of a yard right there. Flag is thrown. They had a moment of silence in the Twin Cities today for Brown.
Holding. Offense number 64. 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
That's J.R. Sweezy.
Sweezy was a part of that Super Bowl team. They brought him back in free agency, and just think this offensive line has been so much better this year. You know, you think about Russell Wilson. Coming into this season, Wilson had been sacked 248 times. It's the most of any quarterback in the league. And look at Solari. It's a big reason why they went out and got him, to solidify that offensive line and the protection in front of Russell Wilson.
Davis is the running back. It is first down and 20. Brown with the block, but here comes Gordon, and down he goes again. Another sack. That's the third authored by this defense. And they push him back to the 19-yard line of Seattle, losing 4.
We always have to be aware of where Melvin Ingram is. And this is a great rush by him, because he's going to get double teamed. He gets chipped, but he doesn't give up. He keeps working, keeps grinding it out, and finds a way to surprise Russell Wilson from behind. And this is what you've got to do when you play against a quarterback like Russell Wilson. You've got to keep them confined to the pocket. You see the blood coming down the right forearm of Russell Wilson.
2nd down and 24. Davis is drilled at the line. Legit was there, along with the linebacker and defensive end Melvin Ingram. It is a no gain on the play. Now 3rd down. They need the 43.
When the Bluebirds are out in Seattle, had a lot of 3rd and long situations. About 3rd and forever. Not a lot of plays on the call sheet of Brian Schottenheimer. You see this picket fence defense for the Chargers. Check the ball underneath, pick up 10 or 12 yards, and move on.
Vanette, the tight end. 3rd and 24. Out to the 27. Jatavis Brown got a hand on him. Knocked him off balance. The blood continues to come out. Gain of 9. Not enough. It's 4th down. Here comes the Seattle punting unit.
Where this offense is stalled.
Rich, the resume today is not very impressive. In the first half, touchdown pass, then punt, missed field goal, punt, and then they got a field goal as time expired. This is the 3rd straight punt in the second half by Seattle.
Just 4 of 11 on 3rd down today for the Seahawks.
King drifting back to the 13. Once, twice, and then brought down on the play. Barkevius Mingo. Former high pick by Cleveland. Flag has been thrown. 60-yard punt. This Michael Dixon is some kind of rookie punter. Like I said, in Green Bay, the guy that was drafted just after him out of Alabama, J.K. Scott, he's had a pretty good season.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Return team number 24. The penalty is half the distance to the goal. First down, timeout.
They're looking at Russell Wilson's cut. They treat it right there. Under 12 to go. Chargers by 9 on CBS. Philip Rivers, Rich, has not been sacked today, and no turnovers, first by Seattle's defense.
Well, Chargers the only team in the NFL that have not allowed a fourth quarter sack. Offensive line has played well in front of Rivers.
After the Seattle punt, it's Gordon on 1st and 10. Slicing his way with a good cut. Block right up there by Schofield. Lands about the 12, picks up 6 to Steve on the sideline.
Yeah, just this second, the Seahawks training staff just let Russell Wilson have his arm back. They were working on it pretty hard, trying to get the bleeding stopped. No stitches or anything like that, but they have to use a bandage that has so much adhesive on it. I don't want to be the guy that pulls that off of that wound at the end of it. It's on his throwing arm, so you know it's going to get used pretty hard. I just don't know if the bandage is going to stick. But it's not going to be a factor for him throwing the football.
Block back there, 2nd and 4. What a block. Tevye block. The pitch goes to Gordon. He's got the first down. Carving his way to the 27. Brought down on the play by Wagner. A pickup of 14 and a first down.
Boy, Melvin Gordon has really run the ball well today. He's over 100 yards, 14 carries for 110 yards. He had the 34-yard touchdown run. I mean, just love the way he's finishing runs. Running with some attitude. Offensive line in front of him has done an excellent job against a pretty good Seattle run defense.
He's got his 3rd 100-yard rushing game this season. He's got 110. Eckler in, 1st and 10. Eckler, Watt with the block, Tevye block, and he's out near the 29.
And this is where I think the Chargers are so much better offensively, Kevin. One of my criticisms in years past is that they relied so much on the arm of Philip Rivers that they sometimes forgot about the running game. And I think, you know, it's such a shotgun-heavy attack, which Rivers prefers, but it's not ideal for a running back like Melvin Gordon, who would prefer to be with his heels at 7 yards in that I formation behind a quarterback and center, not offset. I think shotgun limits what you can do with the running game a bit.
Nichols secondary is 2nd down and 7. Good block by Schofield. There is Allen. He's got the first down. Hit on the play by Thompson, who is down. 13-yard pickup. And the gain is out to the 42. With a 13-yard first down throw. Keenan Allen, big day today. With 124 yards. But a player is down. It is Thompson. We step aside at 9:45 to play in the 4th.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Lowe's. The Spark Cash Card from Capital One. And by KFC's Crispy Kernel Sandwich. It's finger-licking good.
They've taken Thompson to the sideline. McDougal has come back in. Here's a jet sweep. Benjamin, first time today, read perfectly by KJ Wright. Throws him for a loss of 2, back to the 40.
They saw this earlier, and watch the adjustment. You're going to see them bounce it out. KJ Wright right there for the play and the stop for a loss of 2.
Thompson is back out. McDougal has left the field. 2nd down and 12. Well, they come with Frank Clark. First sack. Losing 4. Back to the 37. Rivers has not been hit in the 4th quarter that much.
Now you look at Clark, he's just working at the top of your screen on the right tackle, Tevy, and he just goes right by him. And that one got home quick. And Kevin, we've been studying tape this week preparing for this game. I mean, the one guy that keeps jumping out at you is Frank Clark. Really taking advantage of the extra snaps that he has gotten. They no longer have Bennett and Averill, and he is their best pass rusher by far.
He's got a sack in his second consecutive game. 3rd and 16. They need the 48. And a long one down the middle and broken up by Wagner. And Keenan Allen is saying, I had the ball and I was down. They're not agreeing, and here comes the punting unit for LA.
This is amazing. This is Bobby Wagner. It's how deep he gets in zone coverage. And watch him get his right arm in there and just rip this thing away from Keenan Allen. Bobby Wagner has really played well for the Seahawks in the second half.
Rivers handing uncanny success against this defense of Seattle because they've only allowed the opponents about an 83 QBR, number 3 in the NFL. It's been that good. Today, Rivers is 13 of 26, 228, 2 touchdowns. Lockett from the 25. Got by 1, Eckler, and brought down on the play by Jeremy Davis. Losing 2, 38-yard punt right there. Seattle's defense. Clark got the sack. Wagner ripped it away. They've got the ball now with 7:51. After the game, time permitting, the State Farm postgame show from New York. JB and Company scores, news, and highlights. The State Farm postgame show in New York. Wilson 18 of 23. 3 previous possessions in the second half, 3 punts. 1st and 10, Davis got the big block. He's into the secondary and brought down to the 32-yard line by Adai. We have a gain of 8 to the 31.
Well, trailing by 2 scores. This is a critical drive for the Seahawks. They've got to find a way to come away with some points. Nice spin move here by Mike Davis.
3 timeouts apiece. Davis on 2nd down and 2. He was initially hit on the play by Justin Jones. It is a gain of 5. He gets the 1st down. Rich out to the 36.
Mike Davis has done a nice job in the absence of Chris Carson, who's out with a hip injury. And a good 1-2 punch.
Rashad Penny's going to come in. 5 in the secondary for LA. Blocked by Brown, intercepted, picked off, Desmond King to the house. A pick 6 thrown by Wilson. Only the 3rd pick 6 thrown by Wilson in his career. 42-yard return.
Well, you don't see this very often, but he never feels the safety. He's just trying to throw the out route on the boundary. And the inside nickel cover corner just jumps the route. I mean, I don't think he ever feels Desmond King or ever sees him as King dropped off the slot to jump the out route.
2nd this year. Extra point. And no good. Sturgis has missed another one. He's left 5 points on the field. 2 missed PATs, a missed field goal, but the pick 6 by King, a beauty. 3rd interception this season. He had a pick 6 last year, 90-yard. That was against Cleveland.
Well, I just think it's a confidence thing right now with Caleb Sturgis. Kevin talked about the fact that he had made 35 straight kicks from inside a 40-yard line. And today he's missed a couple extra points, as well as a field goal. But all of his misses, he's just tugging them left. I wonder if that plant foot is a bit too close to the football. And you look at that, first kicker, a missed PAT and a field goal in 3 consecutive games going all the way back to 1979.
Jimmy Breach just got Sturgis back too.
Jim Breach is probably sitting at home somewhere just watching this game.
So
thinking,
really,
they're going to bring that up?
Yeah.
Just ruined my day.
What a defensive play right there by Desmond King.
You know, those kicks are, I mean, you look at where the Seahawks are, Kevin, it's still a 2-score game.
King is a second-year player. He's had 2 pick sixes in his short career. This guy can change the game. This is Tyler Lockett. And looked like Sturgis tripped him up. 35-yard return, late flag thrown.
Well, that's a really surprise. You just don't see Russell Wilson throw a lot of pick sixes. Really make mistakes like that in a critical situation. Trying to bring his team from behind in the fourth quarter. Just got surprised. Sometimes you have those premeditated decisions. He was determined to throw that quick out route. Never felt Nelson fall off the slide.
Tripping. Return team number 6. 10-yard penalty. Seattle's ball. First down.
Sorry, Desmond King. Well, Sturgis having a rough day.
Well, if you can't kick the ball, kick the heel.
Yeah,
kick the leg.
He was going in for the slide tackle. That's what you do in soccer. Again, Seattle down by 15, Kevin. This could be a 3-score game if it weren't for the misses of Caleb Sturgis. Now, if you're Seattle down by 15 with a little over 6 minutes to go, you really got to pick up the pace. You can't run the football as much. It's got to be a mix. Russell Wilson's going to have to start spreading it around and throwing it.
Which is not how they've been winning this season. 1st and 10 outside Davis Lowe. It's dropped. Coverage by Derwin James. 2nd down and 10.
And sometimes, Kevin, you're better off just throwing it away on 1st down. Rather than a completion there, the back gets tackled in the field of play. The clock continues to run. Throwing the ball away in these, I know we're not in 2 minutes, but in this type of hurry-up situation is not a bad thing. Really 4-down territory for the Seahawks.
They bring James off the corner. 2nd down and 10. There goes a flag. And here goes Russell Wilson. Needs the 44. As the 1st down.
That'll be a hold.
Adrian Phillips from behind. 13-yard run. Looks like it is a hold against the offense of Seattle.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Defense number 33. That 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play. 1st down.
I beg your pardon. Derwin James comes up with it right there and sustains the drive, and it's a big penalty mark-off.
Well, just watch Derwin James. He's going to come and he's going to take on the back, and he hits him right in the face. Mike Davis, he's got his left hand in form. Look at that. He just takes the face mask of Mike Davis and tries to walk him right back into the lap of Russell Wilson.
1st down and 10. Blocked by Brown. Here comes Ingram. They've got him. There's a flag, and the ball goes out. Is it bleeding again? Is that why?
There is no intentional grounding on the play. Number 27 was in the area. There were fouls by both teams, though. Holding, offense, number 65. Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, number 93. Those fouls offset. Replay the down.
Good look at the pass rush. And right there, a late hit.
With the helmet, right?
Yep. And the right arm to the head. That's what they got him for.
Yeah, you're right, Rich. 1st down and 10. It's Davis. And he's brought down by Phillips with a gain of 4. He'll swerve his way down to the 32, 33.
You got to pick it up. You can mix in the run.
2nd down and 6. You see the flag. There goes the throw, and it's across the middle, and it's Davis again trying to get his bearings. King got him first. Gain of 3. Flag has been thrown. We'll check in with Steve.
Illegal shift, offense. 5-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
Steve Tasker on the sideline.
Yeah, former Charger for the Seahawks, right guard DJ Fluker is questionable with a lower leg injury. He's been replaced by Joey Hunt, who's the backup center. So the Seahawks without their right guard being replaced by Joey Hunt. Fluker is out with the lower leg and is questionable.
Hunt is in one start at center this season. Second down and 12. They'll race one downfield. That's the tight end, Vanette. Grabbed by Davis. Gain of 11. He's down to the 27-yard line of LA. About a yard to go for a first. 3rd and 1. Each team with 3 timeouts. But it's uphill now for the Seahawks. And up here to Penny, and he's nailed behind the line of scrimmage. Right on through. Throwing him for a 3-yard loss was Corey Legit. Big time hit. Activated earlier in the month of October.
Well, Kevin, you mentioned the replacement right here at the right guard position, and just watch this movement up front. Joey Hunt gets beat right off the snap. He's got no chance against Corey Legit.
4th and 4. Davis on 4th and 4. He's got the first down. He's brought down on the play by Jaleel Adai. It is a gain of 8. They move the chains to the 22-yard line of the Chargers.
That was a gutsy audible by Russell Wilson. He is the one that went up to the line of scrimmage and changed the play from a pass to a run.
1st and 10. Wilson.
They'll get rid of it. You can't take sacks in this situation.
Damian Square from behind. 4th sack today by the Chargers. He'll go down to the 25.
Russell Wilson is so good at getting out of trouble, but at times, as we talked about before, he's got a difficult time giving up on a play. On 1st and 10, just throw it away. If it's cloudy, if it's muddy, just throw it away and avoid the sack.
They lose 3. 2nd down.
Screen.
13. Little shovel pass there. Here comes Davis. Hit once, hit twice, and brought down. Hit initially by Derwin James in a gain of 1. Down to the 24-yard line.
This is why you go out and spend a first-round pick on a safety like Derwin James. It was a great open field tackle. Good alert play by James, recognizing the screen.
Nwosu was there too. Second, 3rd down and 12. Davis is in. Quick throw. Outside. Lockett. About the 17.
4 down territory.
And it sure is. Michael Davis makes the stop at the 16. Gain of 8.
Another 4th down. Another critical 4th down for the Seahawks.
Look at the clock, Rich. The clock just continuing to tick.
I know. Look at them. They're just walking to the line of scrimmage. There's got to be a sense of urgency, understanding the situation in the game.
Penny, the running back, becomes wide atop his screen. 4th down and 4. Russell Wilson on the move, has the first, lost the ball, recovered on the play by Britt, the center. They say he was down at the 10, gain of 6.
I think he's down. I think the ball comes out when Russell Wilson actually hits the ground. He's got possession of it there, and as he hits the ground, the ball comes out.
At the 10, 1st and goal. Wilson to the end zone and dropped. It looked like Hayward went right in front of the intended receiver, David Moore, in the back of the end zone, incomplete, 2nd down.
What a great effort by Casey Hayward. Moore is wide open,
Yes.
and at the last second, you see just Casey Hayward leave his feet. Russell Wilson can't believe it. Good adjustment by the veteran corner, Casey Hayward.
This drive coming on the heels of a pick 6 thrown by Russell Wilson moments ago. Returned by King to make it that score. 12th play, 2nd down and goal. 3 timeouts. Penny was in. Penny gets the call.
Out of bounds.
Davis fell. He gets out of bounds. Hit over there too by Adrian Phillips. Gain of 4. We're at the 2-minute warning with 1:58 to go.
the NFL on CBS is sponsored by Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald, in theaters November 16th. And by Pizza Hut, official pizza sponsor of the NFL.
After the game, time permitting, the State Farm post-game show from New York. JB and Company, scores, news, and highlights. 3rd and goal at the 6. Penny is in. Wilson to the end zone and out of the end zone. And looking for the tight end for the first time today, Ed Dickson, who caught a touchdown last week in Detroit. It's 4th and goal.
Another critical 4th down. You look at Brian Schottenheimer there. This is it. Had 3 on this drive so far.
They've converted 2 4th downs on this drive. Davis out of the backfield. 4th and goal. Wilson to the end zone. Caught for a touchdown. Bennett. 6-yard touchdown throw. And Wilson threads the needle.
Now watch this route. I mean, he's just going to hook up over the ball, but watch him squeeze this between the linebacker and the safety.
Wow.
I mean, that is a shot. I mean, he throws a bullet. Obviously, you got to kick the extra point here. If you go for 2 and miss, it's a 9-point game. The game's over, so you got to go for the extra point and then try the onside kick, which is not one of Sebastian Janikowski's strengths. I played with him. He's missed his last 23 onside kick attempts.
Wow, some corporate knowledge there. Wilson has thrown 2 touchdown passes. That baby is through. 25-17, 150 to go. 3 timeouts apiece. And you can see the woeful mark on onside kicks by Sebastian Janikowski. Entering today, only 2 successful onside kicks, by the way, league-wide.
Kevin, one of the reasons for that is the change with the kickoff rule. You know, you can't get a running start. You can't line up 6 or 7 players on the one side. They all have to line up on the 34-yard line. They all have to be in a stationary position. So that makes it more difficult for you to get a running start and get down the field and get in that 10-yard zone where the ball has to travel at least 10 yards. And I think that's why you're going to see less and less of these these onside kick conversions. And of course, they're a lot more difficult when the receiving team knows it's coming and they're able to put their good hands people on the field.
Remember Dixon, Rich, the punter, had an onside drop kick against the Bears earlier this season. But Janikowski is out there. And that is caught by Ekeler. And about the 47. 3 timeouts apiece. Ekeler's got the ball. The Chargers have the ball. Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes and the biggest waves ever to be ridden. Followed by new episodes of God Friend and Me, NCIS Los Angeles, and Madam Secretary. That's tonight, only CBS. 1:50 to go.
Well, Seattle has all 3 timeouts left, so a chance to stop the clock and still get the ball back.
With a 1st and 10. Gordon near midfield. Wagner hit him, and the clock is stopped with a timeout.
They got a chance, Kevin, if they could stop him twice more here now to get the ball back with a little over a minute to go in this game.
And that's the discussion being had between Schottenheimer and Wilson on the sideline.
We saw Russell Wilson in a very similar situation, Kevin, last year against the Texans, bring his team back, and it started with a big play on the first play of the drive. And that's what you need in situations like this. Probably going to get the ball inside the 20. If they're able to get a stop and get off the field on 3rd down, you need big chunk plays. You can't dink and dunk in this situation. There'll be no timeouts left on the clock for the Seahawks. First, they've got to get off the field on 3rd down.
Just took out Keenan Allen. They brought in another tight end and Sean Culkin. Fullback is in there. That is Derek Watt. 2nd down and 7. Seattle 2 timeouts. Pitch out. Gordon blocked by Watt. Down at the 50. No gain on the play. Wagner again with a hit. Also, Stephen was right there plugging the gap. Let's take you back to New York. CBS Studios. James Brown.
Hey, JB, I'll tell you, 21 straight points scored by the LA Rams right now. Cooper Kupp goes 42 yards. 2-point conversion is good. They tie it up at 35. They got a barn burner going on down in New Orleans. Back to you, Kevin and Rich.
And Kupp had been out, Rich, with an injury, so he's back and paying dividends. And what about the resilient LA Rams?
Well, they got a great running back, a hot young quarterback, and a defense that's got a ton of money tied up in that defensive line.
3rd down, 7. Chargers have missed their last 6 third downs. Timeout Rivers. 1:38 to go. Pretty big play coming up here for LA. Well, for those of you expecting to see 60 Minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS and the game between the LA Chargers and the Seattle Seahawks. Along with Rich Gannon and Steve Tasker, Kevin Harlan. 60 Minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately following this game, except on the West Coast.
Well, you look at this situation, Kevin. Seattle their defense has had 20 straight games with at least 1 takeaway. It was the longest streak in football. They haven't had a single takeaway today, and if they could ever use a turnover, it would be in this situation. Y'all wouldn't be surprised to see Seattle get in the shotgun and run the football with Melvin Gordon and force Seattle to use that last timeout. That's what I would do in this situation. Run the football.
They need the 43. Rivers. Sack for the first time today. Jaron Reed got him. Make it the 2nd sack. It's called a loss of 10. Back to the 40.
Kevin, what a bad play. The one thing you cannot do in this situation is take a sack. I said run the football, punt the football, and play defense. Your defense has played well in the 2nd half. Now you give the Seahawks a chance with 1:33 left on the clock.
And here is Donnie Jones with Lockett back. Donnie Jones has had 7 punts blocked, the 2nd most among active punters. They're setting up the return for the All-Pro, but it's short on purpose. And a flag has been thrown on top of it with 1:24 to go. 43-yarder.
Checking the ball down here, and Dinkin and Duncan's not going to help Russell Wilson. If you drop back on 1st down and you're not able to push the ball down the field, you're better off throwing the football away. It drives me crazy in these situations, Kevin. You see quarterbacks drop back, throw the football to the back over the ball, and get tackled for a 4 or 5 yard gain with the clock running and no timeouts left. You cannot do that. Got to be able to use the boundary. You got to be able to push the ball down the field. You have to be aggressive here if you're Russell Wilson.
And Rivers only ran 26 seconds off the clock. So Seattle out of timeouts.
Number 24 of the kicking team went out of bounds on his own. Seattle has elected to enforce that 5-yard penalty from the end of the play. 1st down, Seattle.
Trevor Williams, who was a starter and replaced today by Davis in the secondary. They will take the walk-off and put the ball at the 22.
Any ball that's completed inside the numbers, this offensive line, there's got to be a sense of urgency. They've got to hustle to the football and get lined up quickly.
Davis in the backfield, 1st down and 10. Blocked by Sweezy. Ball knocked away. He sure did. He was brought down on the play in the middle of that line. It's an incompletion. The clock is stopped at 1:19, second down and 10.
This is what a smart quarterback does, Kevin. He knows he's in trouble. Watch here at the end. He's thinking about running with it. Now he knows that Lee just has him. He just throws the ball away and avoids the sack. Good, smart play by Russell Wilson.
Second down 10.
Got to push it down the field.
Here he goes in the middle. Van Eck, where he's been open all day, and where Rich, you saw some weakness. Michael Davis makes the stop. It's a gain to the 32. It is a first down.
You just got to get over midfield so that you can take some shots to the end zone. They still have plenty of time. Still a minute left on the clock.
No timeouts. Wilson looking.
Well, this is where he's dangerous.
Wilson throws, and it's caught on a dive. Flag thrown. Lockett got it. Brown makes the stop. Flag back at the 18. Did they call a roughing the passer? And it's going to be on L.A.
Personal
Going to be
foul.
on Ingram.
Roughing the passer. Defense number 54. A 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play.
Just watch.
First down.
He lunges at Russell Wilson and gets a roughing the passer penalty. That is a big mistake by the veteran defensive end. Now you've put them in a position, Kevin, with almost 50 seconds left on the clock. And Russell Wilson's going to have an opportunity to take a couple shots. Still got to pick up about 15 or 20 yards. And then you can take some shots in the end zone. And the thing that Wilson can do as well as any quarterback, he can run around and buy some time for the receivers to get down the field. If you're the Chargers, you've got to get to Russell Wilson. You've got to keep him contained back there in the pocket.
Wilson with a first down and 10. Moves himself on the go. There he is. First down and more. Down to the 28.
Got to clock it.
16-yard run. No timeouts. You see the clock ticking. They've got it to the 28. First down and 10. Spiking it second down and 10. 30 seconds to go.
Well, you know, now you've got some time to throw it in the end zone. Good look at the call sheet of Brian Schottenheimer, the offensive coordinator, and Gus Bradley, the former Seahawk assistant. He's very familiar. He's seen Russell Wilson do this too many times.
Second down and 10 at the bad snap, and he vacuums it in and throws wide and out of bounds. Incomplete in the vicinity of Moore. 24 seconds left. Third and 10 coming up.
And a good job by Russell Wilson, Kevin, not panicking. Understanding the situation. It's a low snap. He's able to scoop it up like a good shortstop that he is and throw the football away. And you see Phillip Rivers. He's been in way too many of these situations during his 15-year career.
You know, he's done that before this year against the Raiders. Bad snap, and he threw a touchdown. Seventh play coming up. Third down and 10. Davis is in, gets the call, got by Brown.
Can be just short.
Yep, tackled from behind at the 20. Clock is ticking.
Oh, they got to hustle.
8-yard gain. You better believe it. No timeouts. Trying to set. Fourth down and 2. Wilson, here we go. To the end zone. And dropped. Lockett with a flag.
That's going to be a pass interference penalty, Kevin.
Davis.
On Michael Davis. He never turned around and found the football.
No time left, as you can see. But 2 flags at around the goal line.
Well, they'll have another opportunity to
Pass
snap the football.
Defense number 43. The ball will be placed at the 1-yard line. The game will be extended for 1 untimed down.
As they were
First down for Seattle.
Yeah, he as Lockett turns up, he pushes him. He tries to almost push him out of bounds, and that's where the penalty was called prior to them getting into the end zone.
19-yard penalty. First and goal at the 1. Untimed down. Wilson wants quiet. Davis at his side.
Wilson can run it in this situation, Kevin. That's what you get with a quarterback that's
Los Angeles. 30.
so dangerous. He can pull it down and run it as well in this situation.
Rich, how big are those missed extra points? The struggles of Sturgis.
Yeah, they wouldn't be in this situation,
They would
Kevin.
not be in the situation, right.
Caleb Sturgis missed the 2 extra points. He also missed a 42-yard field goal. He's got to be thinking to himself, geez, hope my defense can get a stop.
Maybe thinking of more than just that. First and goal. Untimed down.
Wouldn't be surprised to see them move the pocket and get Russell Wilson outside.
It is a false start. It'll be on Seattle.
False start. Offense, number 64. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Isn't a little bit more
Well,
room to
Sweezy
operate.
actually, he's got Corey Liuget in front of him, and Liuget's moving around a little bit, and Sweezy reacts to the fact that Liuget moved his foot.
Now they're back at the 6. Untimed down. Empty backfield with Davis the running back wide and now back in motion. Wilson. Dropped! The Chargers win! Dropped by David Moore. The Chargers have won! 6th consecutive throw in there. That one, however, is dropped, and the Chargers go to 6-2. They've won 6 of 7 and 5 in a row.
Boy, this was actually a pretty good throw by Russell Wilson. You see him sliding by in time, makes an awkward throw in the back of the end zone. Tough to tell whether or not this thing gets tipped. Yeah, it did get tipped.
By Addae.
It sure did.
By Jaleel Addae.
He just gets a tip of it, and then it changes the rotation, and it makes it very difficult for David Moore to make the catch in the back of the end zone.
All those completed passes, and then that one looked to be right in there, threaded in by Wilson, and Rivers comes up with a win on his 200th start. And the Chargers go to 6-2. They've won 5 in a row. Their last road win against a team with the winning record, November of 2016. A big one today in Seattle. For Rich Gannon, Steve Tasker, the rest of our crew, Kevin Harlan saying so long from the Pacific Northwest. The Chargers have won. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 53.